Welcome back, everyone. For today's video, we are going to return to playing against some of the famous bots on chess.com. Now, as many of you know, we've played against bots such as Mittens, Star Plumber, etc. Some as low as 0 rating up to 9999. And today we're going to be playing against the Gordon Hayward bot. Now, this is a new bot on chess.com. Some of you guys follow American basketball, some of you might not. At any rate, Gordon Hayward is an American professional basketball player. He started his career with the Utah Jazz some years back, signed an amazing 4-year deal worth $128 million with the Boston Celtics in 2017, averaged about 15 to 16 points per game throughout his career, and also a huge aficionado of chess. So without further ado, let's jump into the games. Now, as you know, Gordon Hayward is a strong chess player, but he is not an elite chess player. Therefore, he has a rating of 1350, which means we're going to start out by playing against Gordon Hayward with queen odds. We're going to do our classic Botez gambit. So let's start with g3 and play some kind of hippopotamus with bishop g2. I am now going to play the move pawn to e3 here. We get knight to b4. Now, this is a very aggressive move by Gordon, and I think even though I'm down a queen, I'm going to move my king in the opening because why not? We get queen to f6. I think I'm going to play knight to h3, guarding the pawn. We get queen to f5, and now I will play the move pawn to d3. Gordon plays queen c5, attacking the pawn on c2. I'm going to play knight c3 to prevent it. He goes knight to f6, and now I think I'm going to play bishop to d2. We get knight fd5. Gordon moving extremely fast so far, and I'm definitely in some trouble. Now I'm going to play pawn to e4 here, and he goes knight f6 rather than trading knights. Now, when you're up by so much material, generally you do want to trade off pieces when you can't. Now I'm going to play bishop to e3, attacking the queen. He goes queen to a5. I think I'm going to play this move f3 here to try to bring my knight back into the game. Let's go d4, attacking the bishop. I'm going to go knight c to e2 here, and he goes queen a4. Let's play b3 to attack the queen, queen c6. And now I think c3 is a good move to attack the knight. I think I can go king to d2. And Gordon's knight is almost trapped, but not quite. He plays queen to a6. So I think bishop to f1 is a very logical move. We get d5. I will play e5 here. And after knight to d7, I think now I can play knight to c1, pinning the knight on d3. Gordon sacks a knight. Let's take back. And now he goes d4. Now after d4, if I take with the bishop, he can play c5, but I can take the knight, and so I think I'm already quite a bit better. Gordon has now started to lose the track completely. He plays bishop to g5, and now I go knight takes bishop, f6, and now I think I'm close to winning already if I play this precisely. Now I could take with the bishop, but there is queen to a3, so I think what I want to do is I want to take the pawn. I can still take the knight here, and I think it makes sense attacking the queen. He goes queen d6, and now I have knight to e4, forking the queen and the pawn, and Gordon blunders his queen, and with it he blunders the game here by playing this very unfortunate move, queen to d5. Now I play knight takes f6, forking the king and the queen, and I win the queen, and I have 1 2 3 4 of these pieces on the board, 2 knights, 2 bishops versus 1 bishop. I have 3 extra pieces. There is no way that I don't win this. So let's try to finish this game off quickly. Let's go knight to f4 here. Gordon plays rook to f5, and now I will simply take the rook and play rook to e1. And here with an extra rook, bishop, and knight on the board, there should be some sort of very quick checkmate. I'll go check. I will now check with rook to e7 here. Gordon plays king to c6, and now I'm going to play bishop to e5, try and take the pawn on c7. He continues with king to b5. I'm going to go a4, attacking the king. Let's go b4, b5. If he went here, I knight b3 checkmate. So he goes king b7. And now after takes, king to b8, I can simply move the rook to any of these squares. 1 2 3 4 5. All 5 squares win the game. But since we're playing against a bot, and since people understand the material count, taking one extra pawn to create checkmate is how I should do it. So I take the pawn, and this is simply checkmate. King has no squares. Now in the opening, Gordon was doing quite well, but he sort of started playing too much with his queen. It became a little bit too wayward. Somewhere around this point, after queen to c6, c3, he should have retreated the knight back to a6 and played d5, and Gordon probably would have had decent chances. Unfortunately, Gordon puts his knight on d3. I go on to win the knight, and eventually I win the queen, and everything else falls apart very, very quickly. So we get a nice quick win in this first game against the Gordon Hayward bot. Now so far, smooth. 1350, we win the game. Seems like a fairly standard result. So now we're going to make it even more challenging. We're going to play against Gordon Hayward without any pieces on the board except for one lone queen. Now, do you guys think I can win this game? Because I'm not very confident. Now, I know obviously the bot is rated 1350, but I feel like I should lose. So let's see if I can somehow swindle this. Now, it's worth noting, of course, I played against another very famous human player, the YouTuber by the name of Jimmy Donaldson, also known as Mr. Beast, with only one queen and pawns on the board, and I was able to beat Mr. Beast, but surely I can't also win a game against this famous basketball player, Gordon Hayward. Let's find out. So I'm going to start with e3 here, opening up the diagonal for the queen. I'm now going to play d3, and Gordon plays e5 here. Now after e5, I have a couple of options. I think I'm going to play a3. He goes queen h4, very, very aggressive, very early on, kind of like driving to the paint in basketball. Now I'm going to play h3 here. We get bishop to e6, and I think I'm going to play c3 and maybe d4. Now, of course, I should lose this game. The only way that I don't lose this game is probably if somehow I'm able to attack the king, but most likely I can't do it. So let's go b4 here. He goes bishop f5. I'm going to play king g1. Queen c2. Now queen c2 is a good move, but queen b1 would have been a little bit better, forcing queens off the board. I'm gonna go queen to e1, guarding the pawn, and oh no, Gordon finds queen b1, and now I have lost the game unless I can get a stalemate. Let's try queen f1 here. He trades the queen. A model opening from Gordon Hayward. Unlike Mr. Beast, he's able to trade the queens off right away, and now I have 8 pawns. So let's attack with the 8 pawns. Let's go. Push the pawns up the board. Maybe he'll hang a bishop. No, let's go here. Attack the bishop. Oh no, bishop takes a4. This is bad news. All right, I guess here what I'm going to do is I'm now going to play king to d3, takes with the knight. Let's go king d2, and after knight takes c3, maybe I can get a stalemate here. Probably not, but we do want to play on. Now Gordon moving very fast, playing knight to d1. Again, another good move here, attacking the pawns. Can I maybe get some stalemate? That is the million-dollar question. So now I'm going to play pawn to f3. Gordon takes. Maybe I should have gone f4, and I'm going to go g4 simply to not hang the rest of my pawns. We get knight to c4. I'm going to go h4. Gordon plays rook to a6, and I think I'm about to get checkmated here unless there's some kind of way out. The knight and the bishop simply hold all the critical squares. The bishop on a4 covering b3, c2, and d1. The bishop on e5 covering b2. The knight covering d2. And this is pretty much over, but let's see if I can get a stalemate. Maybe let's go h5. He checks. Let's go here. Check. I'll go king to a2. Gordon brings the knight into the game. Now I have to start pushing pawns. I guess I go back. He takes the pawn. Let's go g5, and Gordon plays rook h1, checkmate. Now this was a very rough loss with only the queen on the board. Gordon bought, definitely playing at a higher level in 1350, or frankly just understand the themes. Now once again, when you start off the game with only a queen on the board, the key is to not let your king be attacked. And Gordon plays a model opening here. He plays this very smoothly. Queen e4 and bishop f5 is simply terrific from Gordon. Maybe you go to castle as well, but the goal at the end of the day is simply trade off the one active piece I have, the one aggressive piece that can attack the king, which is the queen on d1. Gordon Hayward bot makes no mistake, and he's able to trade off the queens and win a very smooth game against me. And it is what it is, frankly, just not really meant to be. So overall, what would I rank the Gordon Hayward bot? I think in general terms, what I would rank the Gordon Hayward bot is definitely stronger than 1000. It's above a 1000 level. Maybe it's like 1300, 1400, definitely considering the lack of opportunities I had in the second game where Gordon did not hang any pieces at all. It's well north of 1000. Now he did of course blunder in the first game. If we take a quick look at that again, some of these moves weren't great from Gordon Hayward bot, but again the opening was pretty good in that game too. Should have traded the knights. He didn't trade them. I mean, eventually he blundered because I was able to make enough moves, and the bot is programmed, I think, at a certain level to make blunders eventually, as opposed to continuing to play perfect moves. But we did see 15 moves from Gordon Hayward bot that were extremely good, absolutely precise moves that kept everything under control. So I think it's north of 1000, maybe like 12, 1300. Now of course I think I'm going to do the one last game, which is to make a clear and conclusive evaluation about what the Gordon Hayward bot is. We are going to play against we are going to play against the bot just straight up. So let's play one more game. Let me pull up the board, and we'll play against the Gordon Hayward bot with straight up odds. So here we go. We're going to play with straight up odds here. Now I'm going to choose Gordon Hayward bot challenge. I will play once again with the white pieces, and let's see how Gordon does. I'm going to start by playing e4. Gordon plays c6. I'm going to go knight c3. Now I do know Gordon Hayward did some collaborations with Levy Rosman in the past, so playing the Hikaru Khan feels like it's in his style. Let's go knight to f3 here. Gordon takes. I will take back with the knight, and actually we see the comment. It says, I've taken some lessons with Gotham chess. How did you warm up for our game? Now I warmed up by simply booting up OBS and preparing to do this recording for all of you fans out there on YouTube. Let's play queen takes e4. Gordon should play queen d5 if he knows the theory. He does. I'm going to go queen e3. Now this is all pretty standard mainline theory in the Hikaru Khan defense. We get bishop f5, and now I'm going to start to get creative with knight e5. I sort of want to see where the bot is at. What is its level? Now Gordon blunders. He does finally play bishop takes c2, which is a blunder because now after bishop to c4, knight guards the bishop. Bishop hits the pawn on f7, and Gordon is in a lot of trouble potentially. He's temporarily up a pawn, but now his king is on the run. He has to go to d8. And after rook to f1 here, there are a lot of problems. I have queen to d4 here, which is a big idea. Goes king c7. Now multiple possibilities. Once again, what I'm going to play here is d3 to lock the bishop in so he can't retreat it on the diagonal. And after knight to a6, I'm going to go queen to f4. Big problems with the king on c7. Now he plays rook to d8, which actually leaves me kind of stunned. I assumed I had a way to checkmate him, but somehow I don't actually see it right off. If I play knight c4, there's king d7 or king c8. Nonetheless, I'm going to go knight c4 and I'm going to play knight to e3, fork his queen and his bishop. Or did I just blunder e5? I blundered e5. Oops, I didn't see that at all. Luckily, I have queen takes pawn, bishop d6. I can activate my bishop here to f4, and I should be winning this game. Let's go bishop to f4, pinning the rook on d6. I have queen e7 tricks as well, but actually I can just take here. And now after king b6, there should be a checkmate, maybe bishop e3. I'm looking for the mate. I don't see it, but let's go check. He can go to b5 or a5. He plays knight c5. I will take back with the queen. King c7. Again, it feels like there should be a checkmate, so let's go queen to e5 check. He's gonna move his king to c8, and now after bishop to e6 here, I can go queen to d6 check, queen to d7 check, and queen to f7 checkmate. And the reason I'll make this checkmate is because it's probably the most thematic checkmate that you will ever see in chess, with a bishop and a queen, the one where the queen and the bishop checkmate, and they're all very, very close to each other. So we go queen to f7 checkmate, and we win the game. So Gordon played the first like 15 moves, once again almost perfectly here up until this moment. Maybe not 15, it's 8, so it's exactly half of 15. Clearly I can't do any math today. Nonetheless, up until move 8, when I surprised Gordon with this knight e5 move, which is not theoretically best, he played perfect moves. Now you might wonder, well, instead of bishop takes c2, I'm saying it's not the right move, but why is knight e5 not the right move? Now the main reason it's not the best move here is black can play f6 here. Let me click on analysis so I can actually make the moves here. And in this position, after knight to e5, black can play f6 here, attacking the knight. Knight has to go back, and now maybe you can take on c2, but even simple moves like e5 followed by knight to d7 and castles, let's just say d3, knight d7, bishop e2 and castles. Black gets a nice big center here. Of course, in this specific position you do hang the pawn at a7, but in general the development is very straightforward. You could also go bishop c5, queen d2, and then castles. Active bishops, king is out center of the board, knight and queen are out, and you have a big black center to boot. So very, very good position for black. So overall, when you ask me what I would rate this bot, the theory is very solid, as with most of the bots. The blunders in this game were not super terrible. Maybe that's exaggeration. They were not all that bad, I would say. But nonetheless, Gordon did make some blunders here. He plays this rook d8 move, which is not best. Already kind of hard to play. So I'd rate this bot right around the level that I think it is. Maybe a little bit above 1350, because the amount of blunders that I see, especially in this game where he plays straight up, are fairly minimal, nothing major to speak of. So I would say probably that I think the bot is underrated. I think it's probably closer to about 1500 strength overall, but nonetheless I think it's a very good creation. I think it's fantastic to have the opportunity to play against these spots. It's great, of course, to see these celebrities from other sports who do love this great game of chess that we all hold so near and dear to our heart. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video of me playing against the NBA superstar Gordon Hayward on chess.com. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Make sure that subscribe button below if you haven't, and I'll be back very, very soon with more great YouTube only content. See you guys. Bye.